Everybody is talking about branding, but very few people understand branding, and very few others actually build a brand. But the truth is that branding is big money, and when you do branding right, branding is your biggest asset. And if you understand this class I'm going to give now, you will understand branding. But before then, know that your first $100,000 is going to come from your skills. Your first $1 million is going to come from your business. Your first $100 million is going to come from your leadership skills, and your billions is tied to your brand. So if you think big enough to think beyond millions into the billions, and you want to build for scale into the billions, then I think this class is something you should not miss. My acechina. I'm an expert global business solutions expert and your real estate success strategist, known as the mayor of housing. So welcome to the recap of the live stream, where every week on Sundays by 6 p.m. GMT +1, we do a live stream and take on a topic that has to do with life, business, money, economy, or anything you choose. And for 1 hour every Sunday, I take 30 minutes to address the topic and 30 minutes to answer any questions, whether related to the topic or any other questions you would have loved to ask me in the comments below. And after that, I'll ask a question, and the 10 fastest fingers to answer that question correctly get to win 30,000 naira, because we are 30,000 subscribers on this channel. And by the time we get to 40,000 subscribers, you get to win 40,000 naira for 10 people every Sunday, because in this channel, we are building the most educative and the most generous YouTube channel in Africa, where we want you to learn and earn. But because of how rowdy the live session is, after every Sunday, we decide to recap the same topic, where we break it down in a cool, calm, and calculated environment to allow those that want to dig deep into the topic to learn better. And the last topic we had on our live was sustaining a brand. I had to give this topic 3 times because I had done it to a very elite group of people for their club presentation, and they saw a lot of value in it, and I decided to do it again in our live presentation. And today we are doing the recap. So before we start the presentation, you might need to pay attention to this. But why you need to pay me attention is because I have built a brand, and I'm building a brand called the Mayor of Housing. And I am the Mayor of Housing. I've been the brand of the year in Port Harcourt for the past 4 years. I've been the Peace Legends Award Top 100 Brands in Africa Award for 2025, and several other awards. I'm Googleable. If you can Google who is the Mayor of Housing, if what you see on Google is impressive, then watch this. If not, you can click to another video. But if you really want to build a brand, then come along with me. Let me teach you the fundamentals of a brand that will go up to become a $1 billion brand, because we're building one. Attention is currency, so focus is how you invest it. So if you decide to pay me your attention, you also need to focus. So you don't just spend your attention, but you focus it, because attention is money. Money is not pounds, dollars, or naira. Money is an idea. Money is trust. Money is integrity. Money is value. Money is service. Money is solution. And the oldest money is knowledge. The biggest money is scale. The highest currency is relationship, while the latest money, the latest kid on the block is attention. So you're already paying me the money of attention if you really want to build a $1 billion brand. So what's a brand? Before we see what a brand is, let us know what it is not, because a lot of people think a logo is a brand. Brand is not a logo. A logo is a symbol, a tool, but it's not the brand itself. Like my logo, you can see, is not my brand. A brand is not just products or services. So the products are not the brand. I sell houses. The brand is more than the product, is the meaning behind the product. Brand is not a one-time promise. It's a sustained perception over time, not a single ad or slogan. A lot of people in Nigeria and Africa, I see them do that. They build a slogan, they build an ad or a campaign that creates a hit, and they think they have built a brand. No, a brand is perception over time. So let's now look at what a brand is. The definition number one is psychological and perceptual. A brand is what lives in the mind of people, the sum of all what they think about you, feel about you, associate with you, and the expectation that come up when they hear your name. So that's the psychological and perceptual definition of brand. Then the identity and reputation definitions is like a brand is a set of tangible and intangible attributes like name, design, values, reputation that identifies and differentiates your offering or product from others. What differentiates you from others is your identity and reputation definition of your brand. The number three definition is experience and emotional memory. A brand is the cumulative emotional and experiential journey people have with you or your products more than visuals or promises. This is where the rubber meets the road in branding. The experience and emotional memory. If people cannot associate your brand with a particular experience or remember it, you don't have a brand. So from all this definition, a brand is the emotional and symbolic value that people assign to you. It's not just your logo, it's not just your name, but the value of all that is called a brand. A brand is a strategic identity ecosystem that ties your name, your voice, your value, your delivery, your reputation, your energy level, everything is your brand. Your brand is a lived experience over time across every touch point. How do people experience you across your different and various touch points? So brand can be reduced to a mathematical formula that says emotions plus symbols plus meaning plus identity equals brand. So no single one, just the emotions is not the brand, just the symbols is not the brand, just the meaning is not the brand, just the identity is not the brand. The brand is a cumulative of all these four things, and it makes it an experience. So branding is an experience, not a logo. If you understand that, then you begin to craft and curate an experience that people can remember. So simply put, how you do what you do is your brand. How do you do everything in your company? How do you treat your customers? How do you treat your business? How do you treat everything? How do you even treat yourself, your staff? Is your brand. So how do you then build a brand now that we know what a brand is? We're going to give us 5 steps to building a brand, and each of these steps is very important. And if you understand these steps, you can build a $1 billion brand. The first is define your core identity and your core values. Core values are very important. Core values define what you stand for. Core identity defines who you are and who you are not. As a matter of fact, the greatest definition of a brand is knowing who you are and who you are not. So, and it's your core value and your core identity that will define those boundaries. So clarify what you stand for and what you promise. Define your why. Why is very important in your identity and your mission, and your values. This is important because this is your brand backbone. Let people know you for something. Apple is known for innovative excellence, while Amazon is known for efficient, timely delivery. So be known for something as your core value. Example, for a housing brand like the Mayor of Housing, integrity, trust, excellence, value for client, and long-term relationships are all important to our brand. So that's our core identity. Step 2, after you know your core identity and core values, craft your symbolic markers. What are the symbols and markers that differentiate you in the marketplace? Your name, your voice, your visual identity. Not just name, but the name that is meaningful. For instance, the name the Mayor of Housing is to evoke character and promise. So the name of your brand must provoke and evoke something. Then your visual identity, the colors, the styling, the typography, it must emotionally align with your values. For instance, we have the value of loyalty and royalty. That's why purple is our color. We have the value of money, and that's why gold is the color of our roof. So for us, we believe in making people happy and making people money in real estate. What's the voice and tone? Like, our communication style is energetic and lively. So our brand always defines that energetic and lively tone. That's why our brand pillars for our presentation and tone is value and fun. Whatever we do has to evoke value and fun, but never mistake this for the brand itself. This is just step 2. They are the symbols of the brand and not the soul of the brand. The soul of the brand is your identity and your core values. Step 3 is deliver consistent experience across all touch points. After you've defined your core identity and core values, you've defined your symbols and markers, and you've designed all your tone and everything, your colors, your style in the market, then you have to deliver consistent experience. Brand incongruence is when your brand speaks different experience different days and is inconsistent with the experience people have, especially for brands that have branched out. We go to your Abuja branch, we experience a different thing. We come to your Port Harcourt branch, we experience a different thing. The experience should be consistent all the time and across all touch points, across whether you're marketing, across whether your physical experience, online experience, call experience, from first contact with your business to the after sales service. Every interaction must reflect your brand value. Consistency builds trust. Inconsistency destroys it. As a matter of fact, you can just say consistency builds a brand. Inconsistency destroys a brand. So both your customer service, your messaging, your product quality, your testimonials, your follow-up, everything about you should smell of your brand experience and should be consistent with the brand. Number 4 is evoke emotional and symbolic value beyond utility. Your brand is what people feel about you beyond your product. If your product is selling cars, outside the car, what do people remember you for? What emotional and symbolic value do you deliver to people? So people often buy that meaning, identity and trust, and not just product features. So your brand has to fit into your customer identity, aspirational lifestyle, and that is why customer avatar is very important, so that you know your particular target demography of customers and you build your brand to always satisfy them across your touch points. Step 5 is protect the brand. Protect your reputation and deliver on promises. Your brand currency. A brand is a promise. The experience is a promise delivered. So the brand perception is what does your brand promise. The brand experience is what does your brand deliver. So failure to deliver will devalue your brand, and every touch point is an audit to your brand. And if you don't make yourself a premium brand, the world will make you a cheap brand. And the greatest value of a brand is your personal exchange rate or your brand exchange rate, which is the extra money people are willing to pay for a product or service just because your name is on it. For instance, I get a building that doesn't have a name that is sold for $10 million. I plaster this brand on that building and immediately the building jumps from 10 million to 15 million. That 5 million extra that people are willing to pay for my brand is the brand exchange value. And you know this when two identical products are standing, one with your name, one without your name, which are people willing to pay for more? And how much more are they willing to pay for it because it's your name? And one of the products line that have exploited this massively is the designer fashion products. Like a Gucci handbag might be the same price in China, the same leather, the same quality. But when Gucci is put on it, without the Gucci logo, it might be $1,000. When the Gucci logo is plastered on it, it becomes $20,000. So the Gucci brand becomes a $19,000 personal exchange rate, because that's how much you can charge more for a product because the name is on it. So the only thing more valuable to me than my personal brand is my personal currency exchange rate. How much more people are willing to pay for a product because my name is on it is more important to me than my personal brand. I'm building that trust. And dependency is what the value and the quality of your brand is. And there are two pillars that will make your brand that valuable and that quality. Pillar number 1 is brand perception. How you are able to create how people see your brand, picture your brand, how they believe and imagine your brand, the mental image they make of your brand when they see your brand, the emotional and mental reputation you've been able to shape in people's mind by your branding is what is called brand perception. How you communicate, how your visual identity, your marketing, social proof, reputation, and the greatest is prior experiences, all create a perception that influences people's behavior towards your brand, what they expect and what they are willing to pay for. And we're in the age of perception where perception has become stronger than reality. If you are exceptional, but people don't see you as exceptional, no one will pay you in the branding space recently. If you are the best and people don't perceive you as the best, you won't get the attention of money that will pay you the best. So perception is so strong that if you don't create the perception of what you really are, nobody will really see what you really are. So perception wins attention. Reality wins reputation. It is the attention that will initiate your business, and it is your reputation that will sustain your business. So attention is the door that opens the door for money to flow into your business. And remember, I told you earlier, attention is money. So money is not pounds, dollars, or naira. Money is an idea, trust, integrity, service, solutions. And the oldest money is knowledge. The biggest money is scale. The highest currency is relationship, while the latest money is attention. So if your brand cannot get attention, it will not get money. And if the perception of the attention your brand gets is not positive, you won't get money. The net positive perception of your brand is the initial valuation of your brand. The second pillar that completes the brand sustainability is your brand experience. After people perceive your brand, they want to come in and experience your brand. How do they feel? What do they sense? What do they live when they interact with your brand, your product, your services, your results? How do they experience it? From the first impression to after service, how do they experience your brand? That is what makes your brand very powerful. So people should be able to experience a better experience than your perception. A strong brand experience builds loyalty, repeat business, referral, and long-term equity. As a matter of fact, brand experience is brand sustainability. So sustaining a brand is leaving people with a stronger experience than the brand perception. So your brand perception is your customer attraction. Your brand experience is your customer retention. So if you can't attract customers, you don't make money. If you can't retain customers, you don't keep making money. So brand is not what you say. Brand is what they say. So the experience people feel about you and what they say about you is your brand. And one of the ways you can remind them is your logo. Your logo reminds them of the experience, but it is the experience that actually creates the memory. They will remember. If the experience was nothing, the logo will remind them of nothing. If the experience was negative, the logo will remind them of the negative experience. If the experience was good, the logo will remind them of the good experience. Whenever they see your logo, they will remember the experience and like, ah. And in all this, the emotional appeal of your brand is most powerful. And if they don't feel you, they won't pay you. People buy emotions, not products, facts, logo, or beauty. It is how you make them feel that determines your brand value. So 5 ways you can make that feeling a sustainable one and build a sustainable brand. Number 1, you must make your brand experience to always surpass your brand perception. This is very important because perception opens the door for people to come in. Experience is the house on which they coming into. So if the door is so beautiful and you open the door and they come in and they see a useless house, they will not remember the beauty of the door anymore. They will only remember the house. So it is better you under-promise and over-deliver than if you over-promise and under-deliver, you kill your brand. And then the only way to maintain the brand is consistency of experience, excellence of experience for a long time. Then you have a good brand equity. So for your brand to last, your brand experience must surpass your brand perception. Number 2 way of sustaining a brand is emotional memory. After the experience, you need to tie the experience to something. Like, as I said earlier on, the logo reminds them of the experience. So when you put logos and signages, it reminds people of the feeling they had when they experienced your brand. So, and feelings are the strongest brand currency. That Maya Angelou said. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So people will forget your logo, they'll forget your product, they'll forget everything about you, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So if your brand is not making people feel good and does not create an emotional resonance that resonates along the lines of loyalty, advocacy, nobody will be talking about your logo and you will not get repeat business. And when these things are negative, you will have negative word of mouth, and instead of repeat business, you have customer churn and customer attrition. Number 3 is deliver value through your personal exchange rate. For you to deliver value through your personal exchange rate is outside the product. What can you give to the clients that is more valuable than the product? And one of the greatest products that you can give more valuable than any product is trust. Trust is the solid rock below that sustains every logo at the surface. Beneath the surface of every solid brand in the world is a rock of trust. So people want a brand they can trust. This trust will create your reputation. And if that trust is polished with excellence, your name becomes a value multiplier that people are willing to pay a premium because your name is on it. And that premium will command a premium price that loyal customers will not only pay, they will tell others why they should pay the extra and why it is worth it. And that compounds your brand equity. So your personal exchange rate is the extra money people will pay for a product or service just because your name is on it. So when they hear who is building that estate, mayor of housing, wow, that guy is exceptional, then your name becomes your currency and your personal exchange of trust and excellence. And there's no limit to how much that can earn you. Like I told you earlier, Gucci can buy a $1,000 bag in China, put his logo on it and sell it for $20,000. And people will still prefer the $20,000 Gucci crafted bag than the logo-less same bag. So that's how brand exchange rate is very important. The number 4 way to sustaining a brand is to guard against brand decay and cheapening. When you've built a big brand, don't allow complacency and pride to make you begin to feel you have arrived. A brand is difficult to build but very easy to destroy. So never take shortcuts that can tarnish the experience for your customers or tarnish your quality. Reputation and trust, once lost, are very hard to rebuild. If you don't uphold standards, the world will allocate whatever standards to you. So when you build a premium brand, maintain it premium, because if you don't make it premium, the world will make it a cheap brand. The 5th way you can sustain a brand is constant brand evaluation, evolution, and relevance. Your brand needs to be evaluated constantly because the world is constantly changing. Markets are changing, cultures are changing, customer expectations are changing. Your brand must adapt or die. So if your brand does not adapt, your brand will die. The only way your brand can survive in this ever-changing market is to adapt. And if the brand adapts too much and loses your core values and identity, the brand will die. If the brand does not adapt, the brand will die. So it's not just adaptation of your brand that is the challenge. The challenge is how can your brand adapt without losing the soul and the core of your brand. And that's where true flexibility and maturity comes in brand sustenance. After you've built the brand, sustaining it across different times and cultures becomes a huge challenge. And one of the brands that have done this severally and beautifully well, and that's why Warren Buffett and conservative investors love that brand so much, is Coca-Cola. Across different cultures, times, and economies, Coca-Cola has been able to adapt itself to fit into all generations and still remain to the core of Coca-Cola. So sustainment requires continuous delivery on values and staying culturally and socially relevant. And Coca-Cola does that so much. Every year, every culture, they have a way of being relevant socially and culturally, but remaining the same old Coca-Cola with a different vibe and different presentation at every time. So if you make them feel you, they'll pay you. But if you don't make them feel you, they will leave you. So if they don't feel you, they've already left you. Branding makes hearts pay before wallets pay. So in branding, you're after the heart of the customer and not just the pocket. And the heart of the customer is the heart of the matter, because that's where the money is. So when building a brand, always remember this. A brand is far more about emotion than logic. Emotions build brands. And the moment you shift from selling features to crafting feeling, you upgrade your commodity to legacy. Once you can make them begin to feel your product and not just analyze your product by features, you're already winning the brand game. Second thing you need to remember is that your brand's real equity grows silently through trust and consistency and emotional memory. It's not the hype and flashy visuals that matters in brand. It's not the logos, the slogans, and all this. It is the trust, the consistency, and how you make people feel that matters. Number 3, a premium brand mindset doesn't cost more than mediocrity. Mediocrity costs more. Poor experience destroys trust faster than logos can build it. So most times, the difference between a premium brand and a mediocre brand is not much in terms of physical cost. It's just much in terms of intentional cost, because a brand intentionally creates an experience for their customers, while a mediocre brand is not intentional. Sometimes the premium brand must not spend more to get more experience across to its customers, but the mediocre brand might even spend more and destroy it with poor experience. So customers don't pay to buy your products. Customers buy the meaning you give them, the emotions you give them. People buy emotionally, and if you can build loyalty from your customers, then you have gained the ultimate edge in the pricing power. A loyal customer will rather pay you more and get that feeling than to go somewhere and pay less and not get the experience. So in saturated market, brand experience becomes the only defensible moat that futures can be copied, experience, and trust cannot. So it is your unique selling experience in the market that is the experience and trust people have for you has to be unique to you, and you beat your competition because they can't create the same experience. And one of the greatest experiences you can create in marketing is the business sales guild equity. What is the guild equity? The guild equity is the ultimate sales skill. Remember, business is not just about branding. Business is a sell or die affair, and your brand only helps you to sell more and sustain your sales more. And so the greatest business maturity is the guild equity. And the guild equity is simply making your non-buyers feel guilty for not buying because of how happy you made them feel. The guild equity is making those that don't buy from you feel so happy with you that they feel guilty for not buying. How can you create such an experience? How can you give so much value, pre-value in your sales, that even before a customer buys, he feels so indebted to you, so impressed by you, so happy with you that he feels guilty not buying? That is the ultimate branding experience. An experience that creates a memory in your customers that didn't buy, that leaves them feeling guilty for not buying. If your brand can reach that level of touch experience and emotional equity deposit in the customers, then you've won the branding game. Finally, the branding game is not to win the pocket of a customer, even though ultimately that's what business is all about. The branding game is to win the heart of a customer, because when you win a customer's heart, his pocket and his friend's pockets are yours for life. When you win a convention for your product, you get access to the customer's pocket once. When you win the heart of your customer, you get access to their pockets severally, and also the pockets of their friends, because they'll bring their friends and they will keep doing that for life. And that's the ultimate goal of branding. The ultimate goal of branding is not for you to be distinguished in the market. The ultimate goal of branding is not for you to stand out on the market. The ultimate goal of branding is for you to win the heart of your customers, so that their pockets and that of their friends will be yours forever. That's why the first $100,000 you make can be tied to your skills, depending on how you specialize and grow your specialty in your skill. Your first $1 million is tied to your business, how well you do business, especially sales and marketing of that business. Your first $100 million is tied to leadership, how well you scale your business and recruit talents and lead talent will determine your first $100 million. But your first billion and billions of dollars is tied to your brand, how well your brand is able to win the heart of the market, how much share of the heart of the market your brand is able to win, and especially the demographic target of your brand, how much of it you are able to endear yourself and your brand to that segment of the market will determine how much of those billions and how long you sustain that experience for those that you have won their heart is how much more money and how long you make money. So don't just build a global brand, build a sustainable brand. Don't just build a personal brand, build a sustainable personal brand. But in all this, remember, the heart of the customer is the target. That's why in one of his books, an author once says, the business that cares the most win. So don't just build your brand to stand out the most. Build your brand to care the most and you win. Hey, sorry to just interrupt that wonderful teaching I was giving, but we're building the most educative and most generous YouTube channel in Africa to put a gold mine in your mind and to put a dime in your pocket, because we believe that without the mind, money is not sustainable, and with all the mind and no money, you won't be able to multiply what you know. So please, if you've got value from this business so far, it will help this channel a lot if you can hit the subscribe button so that YouTube can recommend this to more people. And if you found value so far in this video, please hit the like button. And if the value is enough for you to make money, that's if the value is something monetizable, then share the video with all your friends so that we can share the money together. And I have a 90-day promise that says, if in 90 days of consuming my content, your life has not changed enough for you to make up to $10,000 with the knowledge you've gained from here, you can unsubscribe by then. But for now, subscribe so that more people can get this opportunity. Have you subscribed? Reputation is so important that is the only thing stronger than perception. But because we live in an age where perception has become stronger than reality initially, but it can only be sustainably sustained by reality sustainably. And that sustained perception is called reputation. A lot of people try to build a false reputation, false facade of reputation in a social media age where you can go for Photoshop and you create a front that is different from the substance. Authenticity becomes very scarce. Originality becomes very scarce. Congruence becomes very scarce. And then we find ourselves losing ourselves in the so many masks and images we've created that we don't even know which one is us. And happiness is the only essence of life. And not only is happiness the only essence of life, happiness is also the only essence of branding. Branding is the amount of feelings of happiness that your business identity, your business logo, your business name, and all that has to do with your business mention translates to people when they hear your business. And it's only a happy person that can give happiness. And one of the best definitions of happiness is by a 21st century sage called Mahatma Gandhi. He said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are the same. And reputation is the same. It is only when your reputation outside, your reputation with yourself, and your reputation inside with your soul and spirit are the same will you be happy. When what people say you are, what you truly say you are, and what your spirit and your conscience witnesses that you are different. You lack reputation even though the world might be celebrating you and shouting your name every day. Dare to be yourself. Dare to build a happy brand. And dare to spread happiness, and how wonderful it will be can dominate the marketplace with happiness. Brands are not in scarcity. Products are not in scarcity. Evolution is not in scarcity. Innovation is not in scarcity. Technology is not in scarcity. Intelligence is not in scarcity. Goodness and happiness are in scarcity. Whatever you build, make sure they deliver goodness and happiness to others by first of all making yourself an embodiment of that goodness and happiness and sharing it through your brand. And if you can dare to build that, don't die with your goodness and happiness. Spread it through your brand. And if you won't, the mayor of housing will. Thank you. So you've heard it all. This is what would differentiate the future billionaires watching this and those that will call this hocus pocus and go back to doing business the way they were doing. Win the heart of your customers, and I'll see you when you become a $1 billion brand. And not just the hearts of your customers will make you money, but if you can learn to love problem enough to want problem, you can make money from problems you love so much that you can find a solution. To see how you can also make billions from problems, click on the video above and I'll see you on the other side.
Hey, it is super duper amazing that you found my content valuable enough for you to watch till the end. Only 5% of exceptional people do that. You're exceptional and I deeply love and appreciate you. Hey, don't just watch to learn. Watch to take action. And the first action is subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of our daily value action. Remember, only doers are winners.